Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. Are you ready for another deep dive?
I am. Always.
This one is going to be a wild one.
Oh.
So buckle up.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that,
Sure.
I got to give a quick shout out to Mickytolife on YouTube.
Okay.
If you guys are into like travel, whiskey, and just some really entertaining unboxing videos, you got to check them out. Link is in the show notes.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
So today we're tackling something
Yes.
that I feel like we've maybe already talked about.
Oh, really?
Psychic abilities. Have we done this already? I feel like we've covered every topic under the sun at this point.
You do have a knack for picking fascinating subjects, even if it does feel like we've done this one before sometimes.
Maybe it's a sign. Maybe I'm developing psychic powers. Okay, seriously though, folks. Should we just go daily with these deep dives?
Wow.
Let us know. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
That's true. And a whole lot more research for me.
That is very true. Okay, back to psychic powers. Are they real? Are they a bunch of hooey? You did a ton of research on this one.
Oh, yeah. It was a real mixed bag.
I bet.
Articles battling it out over the evidence. Some scientific studies that are pretty mind-boggling.
I love those.
Historical examples of supposed psychics.
Okay.
Even some stuff on economics and risk perception. It's a lot.
All right, well, let's start with the case for psychic abilities. I mean, some of these stories are pretty wild.
Like what?
Like people claiming to have dreamt about major events before they happened. Like precognitive dreams about 9/11.
Wow.
Gives me chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, I can see how that would be pretty convincing.
And then there's this Harvard study that found something called brainwave resonance.
Okay.
Could that be the scientific key to telepathy? What if our brains are literally syncing up?
Interesting.
And then there's quantum entanglement,
right,
where particles are linked, even across vast distances. Some people think that could explain things like remote viewing, where someone can like see things happening miles away.
Yeah.
And then we can't forget about the evolutionary angle. Some researchers are saying that maybe psychic abilities might have been helpful for survival back in the day, you know, like sensing danger or sensing prey.
Sure.
Maybe they're making a comeback in our modern world because of all the stress we're under.
It's possible.
Right. Like our brains are just trying to adapt to all the craziness. Okay. What are the counter arguments?
Yeah. So as much as I love a good mystery,
it's
important to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism.
I agree.
The thing is, a lot of these studies, while intriguing, they're often based on small sample sizes, making it tough to draw firm conclusions and replicating the results. That's been a real challenge.
Okay, so we need more data.
Exactly.
More experiments. What about those precognitive dreams, though? Are you telling me those are just a coincidence?
Not necessarily, but we have to consider things like selective memory and cognitive biases.
Okay.
Think about it this way. If you have a dream that seems to come true, it's going to stick with you, righty?
Right.
But all those other dreams that didn't hit the mark, those fade away.
So our brains might be focusing on the hits and ignoring the misses.
Exactly.
Like only remembering the times a horoscope was vaguely accurate and forgetting all the times it was totally off.
Exactly. Our brains are wired to find patterns, even when they might not be there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then how do we explain all those famous psychics out there?
Ooh.
The ones who seem to know things that they couldn't possibly know.
That's where things get really interesting because sadly, the world of psychic phenomena is full of frauds. Take James Heydrich, for example. He claimed to move objects with his mind.
Wow.
Wowed audiences on TV.
Right.
Turned out he was just a really skilled magician using trickery to create the illusion of psychic powers.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Busted.
And a lot of so-called psychics use techniques like cold reading.
Cold readings.
They start with vague statements, observe your reactions, and then tailor their pronouncements based on what they pick up.
Oh.
They're masters of observation and suggestion, making it seem like they have supernatural insight.
So they're like mentalists, basically.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
They're incredibly skilled at reading people and creating the impression that they know things they couldn't possibly know.
Right.
And here's the key takeaway.
Okay.
Just because we don't fully understand consciousness, how our brains create this experience of the world, doesn't automatically mean psychic powers are the answer.
Right.
There's still so much we're learning about the brain, its potential, and its limitations.
Okay, so we're back to square one. Psychic abilities. Still a mystery.
Yeah.
But you know what this whole conversation reminds me of?
What?
A concept we came across in the book. You are what you risk.
Okay.
The gray rhino.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Very fitting analogy.
Okay, so...
Remember, a gray rhino represents a highly probable, high-impact threat that's often ignored or downplayed. Think of a rhino charging at you.
Yeah.
It's big.
Right.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
But people often freeze or fail to react in time.
It's so true.
It's a big problem.
And are you saying that believing in unproven psychic abilities
Potentially, yeah.
could be its own kind of gray rhino?
Precisely.
Okay.
Because if we get so caught up in the allure of the paranormal, we might overlook real tangible solutions to the problems we face.
Right.
We might misdirect resources, make decisions based on faulty information, or even become vulnerable to manipulation.
Wow. That puts things in a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
So instead of chasing after psychic powers, we should be focusing on developing critical thinking skills.
Absolutely.
Learning to assess information effectively.
Yeah.
And making choices based on evidence and reason.
Those are the real superpowers.
Right, exactly. And speaking of navigating complexities, we also have this fascinating book in Chinese called Yishu A, which basically translates to Finding the Gray Rhinos in Your Life. It delves into how millennials and Gen Z have a different perspective on risk compared to previous generations, largely shaped by events like the 2008 financial crisis. It's kind of an interesting connection, isn't it? It seems kind of counterintuitive.
It does.
Younger generations are often seen as more financially risk-averse.
Yeah.
Yet they might be more open to unconventional beliefs like psychic phenomena.
That is interesting.
Total paradox.
But maybe it makes sense in a way.
Think about it. Millennials and Gen Z have grown up in a world that feels increasingly uncertain.
Yeah.
You've got economic instability, climate change, political polarization. Maybe for some, the idea of psychic powers offers a sense of hope, control, or connection in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable.
That's a compelling point. It seems that our desire for certainty and meaning can lead us down some intriguing paths, whether it's seeking solace in unconventional beliefs or diving headfirst into the unknown. And speaking of the unknown, it begs the question, what does the future hold for psychic abilities? Will we unlock some hidden potential? Or is it all just a product of wishful thinking?
I know. Like, are we all going to be shooting lasers from our eyeballs someday? Okay, maybe not lasers.
Maybe.
But what about technology? Could things like brain-computer interfaces help us tap into some kind of psychic potential?
Ooh.
Or could technology even simulate psychic powers?
Oh, wow.
Making the real thing irrelevant.
That's a fascinating thought experiment.
Right.
Imagine a world where we can communicate telepathically through implants or see remote locations through virtual reality.
Yeah.
Would it even matter if these abilities were real?
Right.
In the traditional sense?
That is blowing my mind. We could essentially create a world where psychic powers are commonplace, even if they're technologically driven.
It really makes you think.
But that raises a whole bunch of ethical questions, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like, what about privacy?
Yeah.
If someone can hack into my brain, computer interface, could they read my thoughts?
It's possible.
That's a whole new level of creepy.
Totally.
And the potential for misuse goes far beyond simple privacy breaches.
Yeah.
Imagine the possibility of manipulating someone's thoughts or actions without their knowledge or consent.
Right.
The ethical implications of psychic abilities,
yeah,
whether real or simulated,
that is true,
are profound.
Yeah.
And demand careful consideration.
We have to think about these things.
Okay, so maybe having psychic powers wouldn't be all fun and games.
Right.
It could have some serious downsides.
For sure.
It seems like we're entering a territory where science fiction is starting to blend with reality.
Indeed. And as we delve deeper into the mysteries of consciousness and explore the frontiers of technology, it's crucial to engage in these ethical discussions.
Absolutely.
We need to be mindful of the potential consequences of our actions.
Right.
And ensure that our pursuit of knowledge and progress doesn't come at the cost of our values and humanity.
Totally agree. All right, so to sum things up, psychic abilities are still a giant question mark.
It seems that way.
We've got these captivating stories, some intriguing scientific findings, but no definitive proof.
Right?
And even if it all turns out to be a bunch of hooey, it sparks some pretty mind-bending conversations. The nature of reality, the power of belief, and the future of human potential.
I couldn't agree more. It's a topic that forces us to confront the limits of our understanding and grapple with some truly profound questions.
Deep stuff. So, listeners, here's a final thought for you.
Okay.
If you could have any psychic ability, what would it be and why? Let us know on social media. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's a question that sparks the imagination and invites us to ponder the possibilities.
Right.
Both wondrous and unsettling.
I think that about wraps it up for our psychic deep dive. Even though we didn't come to any firm conclusions, I feel like I've expanded my mind a little bit. Or maybe I'm just picking up on some psychic vibes.
Perhaps both. The world is full of mysteries.
It is.
And our exploration of them is what makes life so fascinating.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us on this mind-bending journey. Until next time, stay curious. And don't forget to let us know what psychic power you'd choose.
So many possibilities.
Telekinesis. Mind control. The possibilities are endless.
And the implications are worth pondering.
See you next time on Sip and Talk.